Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 nerds, by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
The DM's trapped by a troublesome tween. Jump down the description below where you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter, game weekly tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy. We're going to be doing a GM91, so you can also find that down below as well.
If you have a GM91, you can submit those over to us, as well as viewer suggestions to nerdarchy@gmail.com.
All right, so we have a GM, Zarif Gaming, and he's running Adventure League, or at least at a store anyway. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he's got one player who's played with him before, and he was fine going through the Curse of Strahd, but there's a little bit of a hitch here. It's a 12-year-old. He can't turn him away, and he can't point him to another table, and he doesn't feel like he can talk to the parents. The one thing I will say from my experience with my own children and other children is if he's acting out now, and he wasn't before, he's actually come to a point where he's really comfortable with you running the game and being in your presence. Children tend to behave better for people that they're less familiar with. And I think that's part of what you're experiencing. And so the problem might be that he's also just getting bored in the game, so he acts out.
Right. So, as always, whenever a situation comes up, if you have a chat and it's not going well, then you have to try and find another way to deal with the situation. Now, he's in a gaming store, so therefore he's not going somewhere else. He can't kick the player out because of the store rules, and there are no other spaces at other games currently going on, so he can't push them out of that particular game, which leads him down the path of he has to find a way to deal with this particular solution. And sometimes you have to do things a little bit harsh. And this is not the best case scenario, but if he's not responding to out-of-game conversations and he's not responding to in-game conversations from an NPC or from maybe even from a fellow PC, then justification of actions need to happen. Whatever he's doing that is not heroic or not in line with what the laws of the place are, the law is going to intercede. The law is going to come down and deal with the situation.
Yeah, it talks about him, picking fights with anything that moves and killing children in the game and things like that. So one, like Ted said, there would be consequences. But you know what? Maybe you did have a conversation with him and it didn't stick. But maybe you didn't have the right conversation with him too. I don't know. But maybe if you talk to him and go down the road of, instead of telling him what he's doing wrong, children tend to respond better to the praise. Tell him what he's doing right. But not only that, you can also try and delve into what it is he wants out of the game. Talk to him about the game. Don't talk down to him like you're talking to a child. Talk to him like you would talk to any other person. And try and figure out what he's trying to get out of the game, the kind of things that he wants to play, what would engage him as a player, and try and put those things into the game. Why not? If he needs things to start fights with, give him things to start fights with. But give him the right things. Like, introduce situations like where you think that he would misbehave. Kind of like introduce those situations in a different way. Or introduce other people actually doing those actions. Like a bullying children, pushing them down. Or something like that. To kind of like illustrate what he's been doing. But to see how he responds as a player when he's presented with that in the game in front of him.
Those are some excellent points, and as he examines those situations, if he jumps on the side of the bully, well, then that's going to tell you something. If he jumps,
then that kid's a dick, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Ow! Then if he rushes to their aid and decides to do the heroic thing, you can casually mention, hey, kudos for diffusing that situation, but just to let you know, this guy saw you doing that, and he, have a conversation in game. Like, if he doesn't kill the NPC that's doing the bullying, be like, hey, you were doing this. I'm just trying to be like you.
You could, but I don't know that would help. Well, like that's one way of going about it. I would probably do something different and have someone praise him in game. Have him get a reward for doing the right thing.
Okay.
Give him more of the carrot than the stick. I think I think a child would respond better to that.
That's true.
Now, on the other side of that, Ted had touched on the idea of consequences for your actions. If he's picking fights with things, one, let him pick a fight with something and have it be tougher than him, so that he gets his ass handed to him kind of easily. That's one way of going. Two is having the town guards show up and not having them be pushovers would be another way.
He could be escorted out of town and told, look, you just can't come back here.
That would be another thing.
You don't want to do anything that's going to stop the freedom of the character. You don't want to kill him. You don't want to just throw him in jail for more than a day that something else is going to happen, because you want him to have fun. And if you punish him at the table where he's not going to be able to go and do anything, I don't think he's going to respond well. He's just going to do it more.
Or he's going to become a nuisance out of game instead of in game.
Right.
Which is also, one of the things is you could throw him in jail and then have, either one of the guards approach him or someone that's important in the town approach him and say, hey, look, I'll let you out if, and then gives him an ultimatum or something along those lines. And then, and then if he kind of responds to that, then kind of reward him for then doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
So the question is, what would you do at your table? How would you handle this? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out over on nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.